Hello, my name is Alan Fernandez, and today I will be discussing my land ethic, which will include my experiences, the emphasis on the importance of respecting all life forms, and integrating my principles into practical applications for a harmonious coexistence between humanity and environment. So, you may be wondering, what is a land ethic actually? Well, a land ethic calls upon us to recognize the intrinsic value of all life forms and form a deep connection with the natural world. A land ethic is conceptualized as being just about conservation and preservation. And as mentioned by environmentalists Aldo Leopard, it's a shift in a moral responsibility towards the land and its inhabitants. But land doesn't just include soil and trees, but all living beings. They all hold an inherent value beyond utility. So they're basically not just all about being used or what they can provide. Like, nature has more to offer than just that. Same way how us humans, we're not just baby makers, we're much more than that. We're living mammals that have so many skills that we possess that I feel like sometimes don't get put to use. I personally believe that my land ethic revolves around three core pillars, which are the first one being respect for all life forms, and secondly, stewardship and responsibility. And the third one, which is the last one, is cultivating connections and awareness. And when I talk about my first pillar, which is respect for all life forms, I'm talking about how every organism from the smallest microbe to the mightiest tree has intrinsic worth and deserves respect. Because I feel like a lot of the times we as humans, we just kind of look past a lot of things. And you know what? I've been at that position too. Like, whenever I see maybe a roach, an ant, or a spider, my first reaction is to kill it right away. Instead of just kind of thinking like, hey, like, this animal is actually providing a help to me, because they kill other animals, but they also are part of an ecosystem. So everyone plays a role. Also, acknowledging and appreciating the diversity of life fosters harmony within ecosystem. Because, I mean, you can't have too much of one species or too much of something. It all has to be balanced in order for the whole ecosystem to be harmonized and just be able to function and grow. This concept to me didn't really come clear to me until I started this course, because I never realized how important the various types of species all played a role. I never really appreciated everything around me until I learned about the concept of novel ecosystem. And I connect this pillar with the concept because in my environmental class, we found novel ecosystems around us, and I found one specifically behind the Walmart I work, which is the Marsha Sharp one. It's a little deserted area behind the Walmart, but there's so much life ranging from little to small, yet it's a community. The novel ecosystem is untouched by humans, like there's really no interference from us, which allows for it to flourish, but also for different variety of life to thrive there. So, I mean, sometimes in a novel ecosystem, things can be missing in the environment, and these ecosystems, they actually provide what is missing or add even extra value. And onto the second pillar, which is stewardship and responsibility. When I say stewardship, I'm talking about how, as stewards, which is basically like caretakers in a way of the land, we look after and carry the responsibility to protect and preserve it for present and future generations. Our actions should reflect a commitment to sustainable practices that maintain ecological balance and minimize harm to the environment. I definitely see this happening when it comes to preservation of national parks. For example, I'm from Amarillo, Texas, and about like 30 minutes away, there's a town called Canyon, Texas, which is where Polidoro Canyon is. And the preservation of the park is very important. And I have seen firsthand the efforts that the city takes to minimize the amount of visitors to help with erosion. Because, I mean, sometimes if you're walking on the rock, so much traction and so many people walking on it can sometimes cause erosion or just cause little shifts around. But it also allows for wildlife to remain undisturbed. Because, I mean, if we're constantly interacting and disturbing the wildlife, I mean, something's bound to happen. And in most cases, it's not usually good. The preservation of the rock is probably one of the most important aspects because the rock does break and sometimes creates a mess, but the rangers simply attempt to keep all animals and visitors safe, which I kind of connected to, as previously as I said, how we look after the land and just kind of carry the responsibility to protect it. But thinking about it also, I think about how like there's a right and a wrong way to farm. I think of it as like we're trying to educate ourselves to be able to take care of the land properly and make sure we're not hurting it. I also do think that many companies are working to improve their conditions. For example, in my Foundations of Business class, we had to listen to a podcast over the company Shein and their efforts to become more sustainable and minimize their harm to the environment. The companies are becoming more aware of their effect and have started to firstly decrease production because, I mean, if they're producing too much, that does mean that they're using a lot of resources, water, electricity, and I mean, obviously, they have to pay people, so they're wasting human resources in a sense. So they're decreasing production so that material is not wasted, but they have also started to recycle the unused but also return material just so that then it's not creating even more waste than what has already been made. And lastly, my last pillar, which is cultivating connections and awareness. And by this, I mean, it's like by developing a deep connection with nature through education, and exploration and mindfulness enhances our understanding of the interdependence of all living things. This awareness allows us to act as conscientious caretakers. Whether or not we realize it, we do rely on basically every living thing. We need plants to feed our animals. We need our animals to be able to have a source of food. They need a source of food basically so like, I mean, also they're able to give us a source of food. But I mean, we also are able to utilize plants as a source of food. So we are basically using every little thing. I also do believe that it is important to recognize that every action has a ripple effect on the environment. I believe that embracing conservation services that mitigate harm to the land while actively participating in regenerative efforts restores and replenishes what has been depleted. So, in a sense, if we cut 500 trees and we replace them with 1,000 more, even though it will take time for these trees to reach the same growth that maybe the ones that were cut down, the fact is that the effort is being put in. Because as much as we're using, I think we are attempting to kind of replace what has been used. And if we keep on doing that, I definitely do believe that the usage and the replenishment will even out, or even the replenishment might even exceed what has been used. I do believe that we as a society should encourage collaboration among diverse communities and advocate for policies that prioritize environmental protections and amplify the voice of those advocating for sustainable future. And as far as the policies go, we can include the Paris Agreement that deals with the rise of global temperatures rising, and the Endangered Species Act that protects endangered animals or threatened species and their habitat. So those are some of the efforts that are being done. And as far as the advocates, we could include in that category this person who goes by the name of Greta Thunder, who is known for her activism with climate changes. And also, this person is a very well-known advocate, which is Elon Musk. He advocates for renewable energy and sustainable transportation. So he definitely is involved with a lot. To close off, I would like to discuss my final thoughts about how my land ethic translates into daily actions and decisions. It involves reducing personal ecological footprint. So this could be also with water, reducing how much water we use, electricity, just different stuff like that. But also supporting sustainable practices, which could relate back to companies changing the way they do stuff, production and all that. And advocating for environmental justice and fostering a culture that values and respects nature. And once again, I am Alan Fernandez, and today I introduce my land ethic, which includes my experiences and shows an emphasis on the importance of respecting all life forms and integrating my principles into practical applications for harmonious coexistence between humanity and the environment. Thank you.